Everybody, welcome to Rig It On Monday with the coach here at Big Bite Baits. I got Jordan back. He just zoomed in from the Classic. I mean, not 15 seconds ago, he bowled into the door from the airport and said, let's do the show, man, while we can. So we're glad to have him back for sure. I don't know how it is in your part of the country, but it's blazing hot here, and so that's going to affect the fishing. And I thought today I might kind of pattern our show a little bit after the weather. And no, not necessarily talk about deep ledge type rigs like we've been doing the last 2 weeks, but talk about another way you might could catch a fish in the summer, Jordan. So we're going to talk about that in just a second. Before we do though, I do want to get some feedback from everyone. We've got a new hat we're tinkering with. It's a version of a mossy oak camo. It's a silver and white with a red fish on the part of it, on the front of it, and it's a Richardson 112 hat. I just want to get everybody's feedback, whether you like that or you don't, what you think about it. Something we're thinking about putting in our line, Jordan. So anyway, give me some ideas, some feedback on it if you would, please, and let's talk about it so we kind of can know where we're at with that, okay? I think that price point on that hat will be low 20s probably on the internet type price. So anyway, let me know. I need to know. All right, today I also wanted to cover a little piece of clothing. Now, it's that time of the year where it's very hot, and my favorite shirt to wear in the Big Bite series of shirts during the heat is this little Jesse right here. We call them a waffle or a super micro. It comes in 4 colors: black, red, steel, which is a gray color, and this blue. But it is a neat shirt. It's very thin. I can almost hold my face up and you can see me through it. It has like little holes all in it, and it's very cool when you're fishing in it. You know, if you like a short sleeve shirt. And I highly recommend this shirt, and you can just wear this shirt. I wear it to work every day just about it because it's comfortable. And I'll tell you the only negative, only is it does pick a little bit. That's the only negative I can tell you about the shirt. But, you know, for what the price point on it, that's not a big deal to me. But anyway, take a look at those on the internet and try them. I think if you try one of these, you'd be very happy with it. Okay, that leads us into our show, Jordan. Let's talk about a couple of ways to catch fish out in the summer. You know, it's a little different. Now, I kind of got intrigued. I didn't get to go to the Classic for the first time in 10 years because we didn't send anybody from here due to the coronavirus and everything. But I did watch it live, and I saw one of the things I talked about going on the Classic today. And I also had a pro staffer who did real well on this in his last tournament. I know we talked about, I believe John Sukup did some live interviews from the Classic on flipping a trick stick. So I thought today I would show you a couple ways to rig some summer flipping type things. And of course, obviously, fish are going to the mats, and if you have mats and hyacinths and that type of thing to get under them to stay cool. Then obviously, you know, the punching rig, which is just on standby, and then the BFE, which is our flipping bait. We recommend, I mean, we have other baits you can flip with, but this bait was designed especially to flip with. And I know it's been a real hot selling item for us the entire year, but I just rigged it up here on a punching rig without a punching skirt. And you could actually put a punching skirt on if you wanted to. But that's a good way to basically make it work. If you want to pound some mats, try the BFE. I think it comes in 14 colors. So you got a lot of variety, blacks and blues, your green pumpkin variants to look at in it. And basically Alabama Craw is another variant in it that you can use. So just something to think about anyway if you're pounding mats. And I saw some kind of interesting, and I've actually done this in Texas with a guy, flipping around standing timber in the lake. Now, if your lake has standing timber in it, there's ways to do that. And one of the neatest ways I saw this weekend, they were doing this on the Classic, and as I said, I've done this one time in Texas, and then one of our pro staffers recommends this, is to flip a trick stick around around timber. Just pull up there to the timber and drop it in, let it go down, and get ready and feel for the bite. So it's kind of interesting. And the neat thing about it is you don't have to flip a big old heavy weight to do this. You can flip a smaller weight, kind of whatever you kind of choose the drop rate that you want to drop it at. And the nice thing about using the 5-inch trick stick is it's 57 colors. So you can definitely find a color. If you're a color guy or a fanatic about colors, I'm sure you can find a color that will fit you, you know, in them 50-something colors. And you can also, another thing you can do is upsize if you want it to fall differently. You could go to a 6-inch trick stick or even a 7, or you could go, if you want a bigger profile around the middle, you could go to a fat stick. So there's lots of different ways you can adjust it and fish it. You could put it on a punching rig if you wanted to. I mean, I just wanted to show how they were fishing it around those trees. I thought that was kind of neat. I noticed that going on in the Classic. So that's some things I recommend that you can do in the summer besides the proverbial, Carolina rig, Texas rig, shaky head type stuff that we were talking about in the last couple of weeks. But anyway, that pretty much gives you an idea of how to try that. We'll entertain some questions. If anybody has any they want to get out there to us, we'd love to have them. So Jordan, what do we have question-wise that's already in? Let's kind of cover those.
Sure. If anyone has more questions, send them in now. But the one I have for you right off the top is, what is your favorite BFE color, Coach?
Well, I kind of like the BTL color. That's kind of totally different off the spectrum. I know it's a really unique laminate. It has a June bug candy on one side and black, I believe, on the other. And then it has on the sides, it has that chartreuse stripe down it where we triple laminated. And I think that's pretty neat. I would highly recommend that color. I know in the beginning when we first put that bait out, that color was not selling real well. Now it's selling really well, and some of the other colors maybe have backed off a little bit. Once people took a chance on that, they found they liked it, but just looking at it in the bag, it looks kind of neat.
Yeah, absolutely. Another follow-up on that. On that punching rig, can you go into detail on line and hook size?
Yeah, you can use, obviously you want to use a heavy braid. I would say 60 pounds or better. I've got a little rubber stopper on it, a punching stopper that you can buy on the little rings at your tackle store. And then I believe this is an ounce piece of lead, but you can go up as big as a 2-ounce piece of tungsten on it. And then I've got a Gamakatsu flipping hook on that rig, and the hook is snelled. And the reason you want to snell it is that way when you pull it, that hook will turn up and get you a good, if you tie it right, you can go online and look at that. But if you snell it, when you pull it, that hook will turn up and you can get a real good hook set on that fish. So you can look on the internet, on YouTube or somewhere like that to find out how to do that. But that's a nice way to make it work for you. But that's just your typical punching rig. And if you want to add that punching skirt, obviously you put it in there, right under your weight, and you have that skirt hanging down as well. So you can do 2 or 3 different things. But that's just a standard, what I call a good heavy-duty punching rig. Okay?
I have a question here from Tyler Pope. How do you go about fishing docks?
There's several ways to fish docks. I mean, some people like to fish the edges of the dock, fish down the sides of it, fish across the front of it. And then if you really want to get good at it, you skip up under that dock. And, you're talking about a nightmare, though. If you hadn't ever tried that and you're not really good at it, be ready to backlash your reel. But that's the success I've had around docks. And I don't fish docks a whole lot. That's not my cup of tea. But it is if you can make that bait skip up under there and get it up under that shade, those fish are laying under there. And then obviously, if you're on a lake where there's brush, the docks with more brush around them are better than the ones that are not. So that's something else to look for with your side scan, that type of thing.
Okay, so what are 2 to 3 baits you would suggest for that type of scenario?
Well, I think you can use several things. Obviously, I'm going to tell you right out of the gate, use a fighting frog. A lot of guys will throw a jig with a trailer on it sometime. I've done real well doing that. And then obviously I would probably try for my third choice, that's a plastic type rig. Also some moving baits, but I would probably try, we talked about a fighting frog, and we talked about a jig. I'm trying to think of the third thing I would probably try. Something I thought I could skip with a light lead, maybe a trick stick up under there. My 2 go-tos would be the fighting frog and the jig, first of all.
Okay, that's all I have for you right now.
Okay, well, we'll next week what I'd like to come in and do, we're going to introduce all the new colors of the B2 worm. We've been promising them. We'll have them ready by next week for sales. And I'd like to go through next week and talk about the different colors that we are adding to that line. And we'll do that next week on our show and get everybody up to date on that. So until then, y'all have a good week and beat the heat, and we'll see you then.